welcome to our conference. I'd like to introduce you to one of our smallest residents, our rooster here named Radcliffe. He lives here with his 3 lovely turkey girls. He is just one of the sweetest roosters, and you can really tell when you come in here and interact with them. He likes to try and protect them and is very curious about you, but he's very sweet. And he's one of my favorite roosters. One of my favorite stories about Radcliffe is how he came to live with the turkey girls. He originally lived in our main stall with the rest of the birds, but he kept flying over because he loved being with the turkey girls so much. But we finally just let him stay here for good, and often at night we find him sleeping tucked under their wings.
Hi, and welcome to Animal Place's Farm to Animal Conference eSummit. We're so excited to have you here today. I'm your host, Kelsey Leach, calling in from the beautiful sanctuary in Grass Valley, California, and I'm honored to introduce you to our next guest, Wendy Matthews. Wendy is the U.S. Director of Veganuary and has overseen the nonprofit's campaign since its launch in the U.S. in January of 2020. She has been actively involved in the vegan animal protection movement for over a decade and previously worked with Farm Sanctuary as Senior Manager of Engagement and Social Impact. Wendy is passionate about creating resources that help people live in alignment with their values and supporting businesses and shifting towards plant-based to meet the rise of consumer consciousness. Thank you so much for being here, Wendy. We're excited to hear your presentation.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be a part of FACES this year.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to pass it over to you, and we're excited to learn about Change campaigns.
Great. Let me just get my screen shared. Hi, and thanks so much for tuning in. As Kelsey said, I'm Wendy Matthews, and I'm the U.S. Director of Veganuary. And today I'm going to take you through the journey of Veganuary from our inception until today, sharing some of our goals, strategies, and the results that we've seen over the years. But first, I'd like to start with something fun, which is sharing one of my favorite moments from Veganuary 2022, which is when we had a feature on The Daily Show as the coveted Moment of Zen.
A record number of people are expected to give up meat and animal products, all part of the annual Veganuary campaign.
For anyone following Veganuary this year, here's something you might like.
If you don't know what Veganuary is, it's Veganuary right now.
Veganuary. Not sure if I pronounced Veganuary clearly enough there.
You kind of developed this Veganuary.
Yeah, so we like to say that the most difficult thing about taking part in Veganuary is actually pronouncing it.
Or Veganuary, I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that correctly.
And how do you say this?
Veganuary.
Veganuary,
I think
which is not January. Veganuary. Okay.
But a lot of people are asking the question: has Veganuary gone a bit too far?
Well, I'd say we haven't yet gone far enough. But if you were paying close attention, you probably noticed Veganuary's co-founder, Matthew Glover, featured in that video. And he's also speaking at FACES, so be sure to catch his talk. Matthew and his wife, Jane, came up with the idea for Veganuary around their kitchen table in 2014. They were inspired by other similar campaigns like Movember, which encourages people to grow a mustache during November for men's health. And they thought maybe they could apply the same time-bound model to veganism. So the first year, they thought they'd be lucky if they got 1,000 participants. And 3,300 people signed up. So they knew that they were onto something. Since then, Veganuary has caught fire around the world, and signups have been steadily climbing each year. Which brings us to last year. In January 2022, over 629,000 people signed up to participate, bringing our all-time total to upwards of 2 million. And this was our biggest campaign yet. But even more exciting is that Kantar research has told us 10 times the amount of people who actually participate by signing up through our channels are actually getting involved in Veganuary. So we believe that our numbers are much, much higher. And we're also currently exploring new and exciting ways to measure our overall participation and the impact beyond just these traditional sign-up figures. But let's back up for a moment and cover just the basics for anyone out there who is not familiar with the campaign. What actually is Veganuary? I'm sure by now you've probably surmised that our name comes from a combination of vegan and January. And we're a nonprofit that encourages people to try vegan in January, but also throughout the rest of the year. And we give them everything they need to get started. We also work really closely with businesses to launch and promote new vegan products, particularly in January, but also year round. And see, there was me saying it wrong, particularly in January, but also year round. There are 4 key strategic aims that drive our campaign. These are increasing participation, corporate outreach, globalization, and raising awareness. So I'd like to take a closer look at each of these objectives and how they work together to serve our mission, which is, of course, to inspire and support people to try vegan, to drive corporate change, and to create a global mass movement championing compassionate food choices with the aim of ending animal farming, protecting the planet, and improving human health. I know a lot of folks tuned in today will share these goals with us. So we've talked a bit about participation numbers and how they've grown over the years, but I'd like to dig in for a moment on what it looks like to actually take part in Veganuary. Now, if you sign up, what type of support do you actually receive? What resources are you getting? And what are we doing to help our participants succeed? First of all, participants each receive a daily email, and that goes on for the 31 days of their pledge, whether they're doing it in January or another time during the year. And these emails are packed with our best tips and advice for transitioning to a plant-based diet, plus lots of encouragement and a selection of our favorite vegan recipes. The topic range from cooking to wellness to environmental concerns to the treatment of animals on factory farms. And participants are served slightly more targeted content depending on which motivator they selected when they signed up. So if they've told us they are participating for environmental reasons, they'll get some more environmental content than others. If they've signed up for animals, they'll get more animal content. So we do try to cater content specifically to the interests of the participant. Actually is to arm participants with the info they need to succeed at trying vegan, to have a lot of fun with it, and also to educate them on the issues that we hope will continue to motivate them to eat vegan long after January's passed. Participants also receive access to tons of fun freebies like these. One that everyone gets when they sign up is our Celebrity E-Cookbook. And we just updated the US version with tons of new recipes from US celebrities and influencers. So you'll definitely want to sign up this year and get your copy. We also have a selection of different meal plans. So there are high, low, and medium calorie meal plans, as well as seasonal plans and sports nutrition. There's also a gluten-free meal plan, kind of whatever you need to plot out your month. And we also share nutrition trackers like this Daily Dozen worksheet, which comes from nutritional advice given by Dr. Michael Greger. We also work very closely with brands, as I mentioned earlier, and that allows us to encourage and incentivize them to offer special discounts and promotions exclusively for the Veganuary audience by giving them a platform to get them in front of our audience. So we have a special offers page on our site, and we also include special offers throughout the emails. And these help our Veganuary participants try some new products they maybe haven't tried before, or stock up to make their month very easy and fun. Last year, we had over 100 US brands list special offers during Veganuary. So that page usually goes live January 1st, and it's a great way to get some discounts on all of your favorites. Finally, everyone who signs up for Veganuary gets access to our private Facebook group. And this is a great place where they can interact with other participants, share struggles, celebrate triumphs, and just generally encourage one another. Each year, we train a group of fantastic moderators who hang out in the group and make sure that the environment stays positive and non-judgmental and uplifting, and that anyone who has questions or needs advice or support gets it. So next, let's take a look at corporate outreach. We work closely with brands and restaurants and retailers, and we really encourage them to launch and promote new vegan products, especially during January, but also throughout the rest of the year. We've had retailers in the UK tell us that Veganuary is now a bigger event in terms of sales and launches than Christmas, and we're aiming to make it the same in the US. We also provide resources like our business support toolkit, and that paints a picture of the current plant-based landscape and makes the case for businesses to offer more plant-based options. You can see a snapshot here of some of the types of facts we include in those materials. Just really encouraging numbers showing the growth of the plant-based marketplace and reasons to get involved. For example, did you know that according to SPINS, 62% of US households are now buying plant-based products? If you're looking for more data like this, or if you're a business owner listening that wants your own copy of the toolkit, you can do that by going to veganuary.com, and under the Get Involved tab, you'll find a space where you can download it. So now let's get into some of the fun stuff. Veganuary's worked with fast food giants around the globe in launching new vegan menu items like the plant-based long curry at Burger King Germany, vegan sandwiches at Subways around the world, and the pepperoni pizza at Pizza Hut UK. And we've also started to see some great uptake in the US from brands. So last year we had more than 200 brands participate. And here are a few of my favorite launches. Pokeworks, they launched a vegan version of their very popular Spam Musubi for Veganuary, and they did that in partnership with Omnipork. We saw Magnum come out with 2 new vegan ice cream novelties during January last year. And Mellow Mushroom put 2 vegan pies on the menu, which I tried and which were fantastic. And those used Follow Your Heart cheese. And Blue Sushi Sake Grill added a whole bunch of new vegan options to their menu that were seafood alternatives during January. And they were so wildly popular, they decided to keep them on the menu year round. So these types of launches, whether they're a limited time launch or they stay on the menu, really help get vegan food in front of people, get them trying products they might not have tried otherwise if they weren't being so heavily promoted. And ultimately, if they stay on the menu year round, they have a really long lasting impact on the market. In addition to product launches, we also encourage businesses to utilize Veganuary as a marketing campaign and to build buzz and put marketing dollars behind their vegan products to help get them in front of this huge audience of people we're building that are looking for vegan products during January. These are a couple of examples from the US this year too. You'll see a window sign for Veganuary at Insomnia Cookies, which is all over the country, and they also launched 2 new vegan cookies for Veganuary. There was some menu board signage in Just Salad, encouraging folks to try plant-based options during January. And this is a Beyond Meat call out on their website. So these are just some of the ways the businesses can use the Veganuary buzz to draw in new customers and raise some visibility. In addition to our corporate work and our work getting people to sign up for the campaign and increasing participation, we also focus on raising awareness about all the different issues that we cover through media, through our work with celebrities, and through creative marketing, just to create more buzz and more visibility. These are a few of the media headlines that we've seen. Most of these are from last year, but we've had coverage in the New York Times, the LA Times, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post. And these type of headlines just keep Veganuary front and center and keep people talking about vegan issues. And also all of the buzz that's generated, is often noticed by businesses who are more incentivized to get involved. So last year we had 4,351 media stories around the globe and 688 in the US alone. And this is a big part of our strategy. So a lot of the different activations that we do with brands or videos we produce or celebrity partnerships that we embark upon are really geared towards getting this media coverage and creating this moment of buzz during January. As I mentioned, celebrity is a big part of our strategy. So Veganuary has celebrity supporters and ambassadors who give us quotes each year, encouraging people to try Veganuary, and who have really become the mouthpieces for the campaign in a lot of ways and have helped us reach new audiences. This is just an example of some of the celebrities that have been a huge support to the campaign and helped us get the word out there. You'll see Dr. Jane Goodall, Venus Williams, Joaquin Phoenix, LA Laker DeAndre Jordan, Mayim Bialik, Jermaine Dupri, Weird Al Yankovic, and New York City Mayor Eric Adams. So support from celebrities like these just couldn't help us more with the trendiness of the campaign. Vegan is a word that has become very trendy in recent years, but there are still some barriers and still some hurdles. So the more people we can get talking about it in the public eye, the more accessible we can make it to a wider audience. As I mentioned, we also do some out-of-home advertising and creative marketing campaigns to help raise awareness of Veganuary and ultimately the issues that we're working on. So here are a few different examples from last year of billboards and projections and subway ads that we ran around the world to increase visibility. And finally, our goal is to grow a global movement. So I mentioned earlier that Veganuary started in the UK in 2014. In 2020, we launched also in Germany, the US, and Latin America. And we've recently continued that expansion into India. And we also have campaigns in Brazil, and we have partners all around the world. So I'll show you a map so you can get the visual of where we are. Green is where we have official staff to Veganuary campaigns, and orange is where we've partnered with amazing organizations in other countries who help us run local campaigns and adapt our content so that it's something that's genuinely useful to the local audience. And so it's great to have folks in the areas where we're working who know the landscape and can speak authentically to the audience that they're trying to recruit. So all of these pieces, corporate globalization, raising awareness, and participation, work together to reinforce what we like to call the Veganuary effect. And this is where the greatest impact of our campaign lies. This is kind of the magic of Veganuary. Our year-round work engaging businesses leads to a lot of major businesses like the fast food businesses I mentioned earlier, joining Veganuary and really increasing the visibility and availability of plant-based foods. And then the greater the visibility, the more excitement around the campaign, whether that's coming from media coverage, influencers, or celebrities, or all of the social media buzz that's generated. That gives a greater incentive to brands, restaurants, and retailers to market their vegan products and launch new vegan options to the market. And once they've launched new products to the market, the greater availability of delicious vegan products, paired with these companies who are using more of their marketing budget to market them, leads to an increased number of people who are choosing these products over time, over animal products when they go out shopping or go to a restaurant. Plus, many of the products that are launched during January, as I mentioned earlier, do so well that they stay on shelves year-round, and that makes it easier and more inviting for people to continue choosing vegan throughout the rest of the year. So as you can see, there's a nice feedback loop that's created by the corporate engagement arm of what we do and the campaign, where they feed each other and continue to lift each other up. And I think an important piece of what makes Veganuary feel so accessible, both to the public and to corporations, is that it's important to us to maintain a very non-judgmental brand. We want to be approachable. We want to be seen as the Everyone is Welcome campaign. And, vegans have gotten a bad rap for being a bit insular or a bit judgmental. And we want to challenge that stereotype, because I think there are a lot of people out there who are excited to help and excited to support others. And we see that every day in our Facebook groups. So I wanted to share a video that I think kind of exemplifies our approach, which is our campaign ad from 2021 featuring Tabitha Brown. And perceptions of veganism are indeed changing. Veganuary conducted YouGov survey last year that showed some really promising results. We found that 31% of Americans said that they were interested in trying a vegan diet, as were 34% Brits. We found that 30% of Americans said their perceptions of a vegan diet have changed for the better in the last 2 years, as well as 35% of Brits. And 34% of Americans think that eating a vegan diet is an admirable thing to do, as well as 36% of Brits, which I find really uplifting. So I want to take a look next at the results. We've spent some time so far going over why we do what we do and how we do it. But a question I get asked a lot is, okay, but it's 31 days. What are you really accomplishing? What kind of impact can you see from a short-term campaign? So I find it really interesting to look at the results of the participant survey that we put out each year, which asks people about their motivations and what types of long-term change they're making. I'm going to take you through a few high-level highlights, but if you're interested in this type of info, you can find the full results of the participant survey on veganuary.com, and you can download it there if you want to see all of the different demographics that we collect. So let's take a look first at who participates. I'm really excited to report that for the first time ever, the US was the #1 country in terms of signups. So since we launched in 2020, it's typically been UK as the top country, and we just surpassed this year. So we've seen some great growth in the US, which is really promising. And we had, as I mentioned earlier, over 629,000 participants globally. And we asked them before they started what their current diet was. So we found that 17% of participants were already vegan, which makes sense to get a lot of vegans who sign up just to get the recipes and to join in on the fun. But that means that 83% of our participants were still consuming animal products when they began. I suspect that there are probably some folks listening today who are already vegan or mostly vegan. And I encourage you to still sign up for Veganuary this year if that interests you. We'd love to have you on board. You'll get some fantastic resources. And also, the stronger our numbers are each campaign, the greater incentive we have for corporations to get involved and to launch more vegan products to market to our audience. Okay, and then we asked participants, did they make it? Did they make it through the full month? Did they stay vegan throughout January? And over half told us that they did. So 55% said they made it all the way through, and 45% saw some slip-ups along the way. But I think it's very promising that the majority of participants did make it with us. And those who slipped up were met with resources throughout the campaign that were meant to help them get back on track and not feel discouraged and to know that they could start again fresh tomorrow. Before participating in Veganuary, and I know some of this is probably a bit small and hard to see, but I'll kind of translate it for you. So before participating, 31% of people who were not already vegan told us they planned to stay vegan at the end of the pledge, but after participating, that number went up to 36%. And then 74% of those not staying vegan planned to at least have their intake of animal products going forward. And 76% told us they're extremely or very likely to try vegan again in the future. So in total, that means that 83% of participants who were not already vegan when they signed up told us that they will permanently change their diet, either by staying vegan or at least having their intake of animal products, which I think is a really exciting long-term impact. And I love to see that number. And it's been consistent. Most years we have, around 83–85% of folks telling us that they do plan to continue on reducing or eliminating animal products. We also asked those who decided to stay vegan, why? What was it that helped you? Because we want to deliver more of that and keep more people vegan in the long term. And 25% told us it's because they learned more about veganism. So receiving the education and the resources helped them decide that this was a long-term choice. 20% told us that it was easier than they expected. And that is a goal of ours, right? We work with businesses because we want vegan food to be more visible. We want there to be more options out there that are delicious and easy to find, so that people who want to try vegan don't have those obstacles to taste or convenience to getting there. And 20% told us they saw health improvements that made them want to continue being vegan or eating vegan foods. Speaking of health benefits, it's only 31 days, but even during that month, over half of our respondents told us that they saw some improvements to their health. This included 49% reporting increased energy, 48% telling us that their mood improved, 39% reporting better skin, and 37% seeing a desired change in body weight, whether that was gaining a few pounds or losing, depending on what their individual goals were. And finally, one of the stats that makes me feel great to see every year is that 98% told us that they would recommend Veganuary to a friend or family member, and we hope that they do, so that the ripple effect of the campaign keeps growing and growing. But our team works very hard to equip participants with as much useful advice and delicious recipes and friendly support as possible. So it's very rewarding to know that 98% would recommend to others. And this has been a consistent figure year after year. So we want to continue making plant-based easy and accessible for everyone who wants to get involved. And finally, another question I'm often asked is about the impact on our mission as a whole. So, what do our participants collectively do when it comes to environmental impact or impact on animals? And so many people trying vegan and having a positive experience year over year has allowed our overall participant number to grow upwards of 2 million. So we worked with Harvard and Oxford researchers to calculate the impact that those 2 million participants have had on the planet. We found that collectively, our participants have made a major impact towards our mission of ending animal farming and protecting the planet. And together, our participants have saved over 207,000 metric tons of CO2, which is like flying from New York to DC over 1.8 million times. And they've saved 810 metric tons of eutrophication, which is like removing 3,290 tons of sewage from our waterways. And they've also saved 3.2 million gallons of water. And looking at just the last campaign alone in 2022, our campaign participants saved 2.16 million animals, and that's just in 1 month. So you can imagine the impact that has been had collectively over the years since we launched. So if you would like to sign up to receive Veganuary materials, whether that's for yourself because you'd like to give it a try if you're not vegan, or if you are and just want to grab some of this content, or if you want to forward it to someone else in your life who you think could use a refresh or some support in giving Diet Change a try, you can use this QR code to sign up. You can just take a picture of it with your phone if you're not familiar with QR codes, and it'll open up a sign up page where you can either sign up to start receiving 31 days of content now, or if you'd like to sign up for Veganuary 2023, you'll find a field on the form that looks a bit like this, and it lets you select when you want to start. So if you want to be a part of the January campaign, just select choose my own date and input January 1st, 2023. And if I'll go back to the QR code for a second, if anyone just needs more time to take a picture. If you're not into QR codes, just go to veganuary.com and you'll see a big try vegan button at the top of the page. All right, and since this is a virtual presentation, I of course won't be taking live audience questions, but if you have questions for Team Veganuary or for me directly, you can email us at usinfo@veganuary.com. Thanks again for tuning in, and thanks for supporting Veganuary. Here's to the biggest campaign yet.
Wendy, that was a wonderful presentation, and thank you so much for all of the work you are doing with Veganuary. It's incredible that you had so many signups in the US last year, so congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much. It's a pleasure to do this work.
It's really awesome and needed, and I hear from people all the time who are taking the challenge who aren't vegan, And it's also a resource that I often pass along to people. So the theme of this year's conference is making connections and taking action. And Veganuary offers people a variety of ways to accomplish both of these things. But one is through the Workplace Challenge. Can you tell us a bit about the Workplace Challenge, what it entails, and how people can bring it into their own workplaces?
Yeah, I'm so glad that you asked about this because I didn't add it to the main presentation for sake of time, but it is a really important and really exciting part of what we do. So the Workplace Challenge is essentially encouraging teams and employees at certain companies to get together and take on Veganuary as a team. It's a great way to encourage some team bonding and to achieve some workplace goals like well-being in the workplace. And last year we had over 80 companies participate.
Wow.
Yeah, that includes some, larger ones like Papa John's or Aveda, and also some smaller, healthcare services, local services, teams of 2 or 3 people that just wanted to get involved. So there's really no, limit to who can participate. And if anyone listening wants to get their team involved, you can go to veganuary.com. hit get involved, and you'll find the Workplace Challenge toolkit. And that's got pretty much everything you need. We have templates for how to email your supervisor to get them on board. We have templates for how to invite your coworkers to get them excited. So we're there to, cheer you on along the way. And yeah, we'd love to see anyone and everyone participate.
That's really awesome. I think it's an easy way for people to get involved on a larger level, or get people who have never thought about trying a vegan diet on board. And it's probably a really fun team building experience or team bonding experience that you can suggest to your company.
Yeah, and we've seen some teams, take it on at different levels. So sometimes it's just a few coworkers that get together and have a vegan potluck, but sometimes we've seen major corporations incorporate it into their cafeteria by offering vegan options, in the lunch line. So I think that there's a lot of fun ways to get involved in the Workplace Challenge.
Yeah, that's awesome. What do you feel is the best way for vegans to connect with non-vegans in order to help farmed animals?
That's a great question. Obviously, working at Veganuary, I am a big fan of food as activism. So I do think, even just taking someone out for a vegan meal, cooking them your favorite food, maybe just turning them on to a product that you love, can do so much in that little action to shape the way they think about vegan food forever. People have so many deep stereotypes that are based on inexperience. And if you can show someone a food that they love, it can really change the way they think in the long term.
Absolutely. I know I've had personal experience with that, and maybe someone is very adverse to adopting a vegan diet, but I'm like, just try this vegan chicken. It's so good. And yeah. they always are like, oh, it is pretty good. I could eat that. I wouldn't know. So
absolutely. Yeah. And I think, almost it's a bit of a different angle, but it's sort of coupled with that too, is I think, being as non-judgmental as you can be, even though this is an issue that we all feel so passionate about, and it can be hard to, maintain that objectivity. But I think that if you can meet people where they are, you can really inspire some curiosity and some openness. And I think creating an environment where, silly questions can be asked without judgment, I think is really helpful for people. So feed them something delicious and entertain all the questions they have. And I think you can really, really change some people's world.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Wendy. It's just a pleasure to have you. And how can people follow your work and Veganuary's work?
I would suggest, in addition to signing up, which is just a great way to get on the email list and kind of get regular updates from us, follow us at We Are Veganuary on Instagram. We're very active there. And in addition to our own work, we do lots of reporting on new products. So yeah, get the latest news there.
All right, perfect. Thank you again, Wendy. I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much, Kelsey.